You start touring with Necro. He sees the vision, which is kind of amazing because you're making it sound like you were basically on nothing when he found you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then you're seeing everything. Did this help get you more into drugs, or were you already into drugs?
I was already. I started. That was when I came. I spent my whole 23 locked up. When I turned 24, got with Necro. But I started getting into drugs probably when I moved to Staten Island, and my beginning high school years. It started with ecstasy and Xanax, and this is before like the hood knew about it, and so I was oblivious because when I moved into the suburbs, I'm like, ecstasy, all in the hood is just crack. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'll take this little half a pill, made me feel great. And then Xanax, I love Xanax. Xanax was my thing.
Yeah.
And then that turned into heroin. I was a heroin addict for 8 years.
Why, you shooting up?
Nah, I never shot up. I was sniffing it.
Okay.
And again, if somebody, see, this is what happened. When I moved back to Coney Island, I did my high school years in Staten Island and the Poconos, and then when I was 18, moved back to Coney Island.
Right.
So when I moved back to Coney Island, my mother had relapsed, right? And so she's in the streets getting high, going to rehab. So I'm living with my uncle.
And you're a kid and you fully understand this, or is it still?
I didn't understand it at the time. I look back at life and you understand it.
Right.
So I'm 18, back in the hood. My mother owned that. We bought us a house. We was living in a house in Staten Island. She relapsed, lost the house. Now I'm back in the projects in Coney Island, living with my uncle. I would see people come to his door, him serve them. I knew where his stash was at. I didn't know what it was, though. Like in Staten Island, I was doing ecstasy and Xanax, smoking mad weed, drinking 40s. When I go back, I dip into a stash and think it's cocaine. Now, if somebody would have came to me and said, yo, this is heroin, I would have been like, get the fuck out. And I'm not, I knew what crack looked like, so I never smoked crack.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody would say, yo, this is heroin. So I would have been like, never. I dipped into a stash thinking it was coke, did it. I started doing it. I love the way it makes me feel, right? It takes away all my inhibitions, makes me, boisterous. Now I'm back in the hood, so I got to put on a mask and I got to be a gladiator because now I'm back in the hood. You know what I'm saying? And when really I'm a hurt child at this point. My father's dead. My mother's just, everything I knew about my mother being clean for 18 years is now out the window. She's in the streets. I've never seen that before. And I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck is life. So I guess it was a coping mechanism, me getting high. It's the only way that I could get my feelings because I'm a loner.
Right.
I don't talk to nobody about my problems, even throughout my whole life, even now. I don't talk about my problems. I don't fucking bother people with my shit. I keep it all inside until I fucking explode sometimes.
Right.
So, I'm doing heroin for a couple weeks. I guess the people I'm around is like, sees the difference in me. So I'm hanging out with a girl one day. She's like, yo, you do more than weed? I'm like, yeah, I do coke. You want to try some? She's like, let me see. I pulled it out. She was like, yo, that's not coke, man. That's dope. It's heroin. And at this point, I was already hooked on it. And like,
right.
I was like, yo, I already, and then it was off to the races for 8 years, from 18 to 26.
Right. So what do you start doing? You start robbing people and doing all kinds of fucked up shit to get heroin?
Every day was robbing people. Every single day I robbed everybody in my building, everybody in Coney Island, everybody I met through music. I was just a piece of shit.
And you were good at it, so you managed to not get caught for a long time?
Yeah, nah. At 19, I have robbed a cab, beat him up, took all the shit, probably a couple $100. And I got arrested, but when I bailed out, I was like, I'm not turning myself in. I went on the run for 4 years, and during that time, I was doing the Fight Club. I wasn't hiding. They didn't catch me.
Right. What were they trying? Would you hear about
they
them
would look.
asking
My
for you?
moms would be like, yo, they came by the house, and I wasn't there. Yo, they came, my girlfriend at the time, yo, they came by the house, I wasn't there.
I know some New Yorkers who managed to live on the fucking lam for
for
long-ass periods of time.
4 years. And I did the whole Fight Club shit, so when they finally caught me, the judge was like, yo, you stayed out of trouble for 4 years, so I'm going to drop it to a non-violent crime, and that gave me the opportunity to do shock, which is like for first-time felons.
Right.
And it's like boot camp.
So him rewarding you for going on the run is pretty funny, right?
Yo, it's crazy. So instead of doing the 1.5 to 4.5 year term, I wound up doing probably like 13, 14 months. And I come home, I'm good. I didn't get high for maybe 10 months while I was locked up.
Okay. But it was an option? You could.
Nah, I wasn't, because in the shock program, that shit is like boot camp. There's nothing.
Yeah,
It's not like regular jail. So I came home. I'm good for 2 weeks, and I go right back to the same shit. I was like, you know, I made the mistake trying it one day. They're like, I could just do one. I've been good. Shit sent me right back to the races. So, and I was fucked up. And at this time, I had deals with Shady. Well, they wanted to sign me. They was like, yo, Nems, we love your music. We want to sign you to a development deal. But you're going in and out of jail. You're robbing people outside shows. You're living crazy. Like, you're more of a asset than, a liability than an asset. And they just stopped returning my calls. And I was like, that was my one fucking shot. And then when that happened and they stopped returning my calls, I was like, fuck it. I just gave up on the rap shit and just like, yo, I'm just going to be a fucking bum, be a fiend. And that's when I really became homeless, sleeping in the lifeguard chairs at Coney Island and the project staircases. But I was really vicious. I was robbing everybody. And it wasn't because I wanted to. It was just like, you know, it was either me or you.
Right.
I wake up every morning, I'm sick. If I don't rob you, I have a $700 a day habit. If I don't go out there and get this money, I'm gonna be fucking sick, fucking throwing up on myself. So it was just like, you know, you're marching to the fucking beat of somebody else, you know, got the gorilla on your back. And
how'd you break out of that? How long did that last?
8 years.
8 fucking years.
8 years.
And you're in and out of jail during this?
In and out of jail, going to rehabs, going to detoxes. I couldn't stop. I had people praying over me. My moms would take me to church. Because right when I started getting out, my mother got clean again.
Wow.
And my mother been clean ever since.
That's great.
So she was a drug counselor. So once they found out what I was doing, they shipped, yo, go to rehab, go to detox. People praying over me, jail, nothing stopped it. And then I just had like a moment of clarity, bro. I knew when I was at the end, I was homeless. I had no friends. I was just bottom of the barrel, bottom. Like, you would look at me and be like, yo, this guy's a piece of, stay away.
Did you have a lot of people who cared about you and loved you, and then at a certain point you had just kind of burnt out?
Burnt all the bridges. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody that let me close, I would rob from them. I would steal from them. You know, in the beginning it started, I was doing a lot of gangster shit. I would stick people up, dude. But by the end it became cowardly, where you let me close to you, I'm fucking taking your phone. I'm taking your kid's PlayStation. And it was just, yo, I was it was a shame. I was ashamed of myself, the person I had become. And I just had this moment of clarity where I was just like, I was on like a 3-week run. I stole a prescription pad from a doctor. It was already, all the pages were signed. So I was writing myself scripts, selling them. The pad had ended. I'm on a 3-week run where I didn't sleep. I probably didn't shower. I don't know. And I just saw myself from the outside. I don't know what it was, but I was like, yo, I could keep going how I'm going. I'm going to be dead very soon. I knew it. I felt death on me. I'm going to be in jail the rest of my life. Or I could stop right now and live my fucking dreams. Because I still had hopes of being a rapper. I still wanted to do that, but I just had given up.
Right.
All right, people, we just hit 300,000 subscribers. You know we're trying to hit 400,000 subscribers. So that little red button, tap it, tap in. Appreciate y'all.